Hey guys, welcome back to Ashley's Homestead Adventures. We are in the garage here this evening. I am making up doggy dinners to start with, and we're headed out to do evening chores. This is Dasaquin. This is what I use as a joint supplement for my older dogs. Have for years and years. I love it. Let's see here. Happy. Okay. Okay. That's good. Okay. Oops. Okay. Mr. Wonderful got our chicken butcher station set up. We are pretty simple about it. We have a scalder here connected to a propane bottle, and we'll fill this up with water and scald them in this, and then they go to the plucker, and this goes around and around and around. You spray water into it and it takes the feathers off of them, and then we eviscerate on a table, and we keep the legs, the livers, and the hearts, and the heads and the guts go into trash. And then the only thing that's not out here right now, we don't have a cooler out here, but then they'll go into a cooler, into an ice bath, and then they'll go on the drying rack and dry off before we put them in shrink wrap bags. And after cleaning this pot, we will then fill it back up with water, and we will shrink wrap them in boiling water. So we don't show the butchering here on this channel, but I can show you the, how we set up and things like that. So if you have any questions, let me know. Hi kids. You guys ready for, oh, I gotta go get your snacks. Hold on. Be right back. Once again today, my lovely clients donated to the chickens. I had a lady that had some potatoes that she didn't want anymore. Some goodies for the chickens. Okay, I'm back. Well, I'm so glad that I raked all those leaves up into a nice pile yesterday. You guys just to spread them right back out. All right, they are busy on the potatoes, and I'm gonna get this water cleaned up. They have another water over there, but I like to keep a tub also. Boy, you are one big dude, you know it? Yeah, you are. You are one big man. That is my keeper, Rue, for my colorful flock. Doesn't have a name yet. Good on oyster shells. So we're just cleaning their tub waters. Both coops have water in the other ones, so we're good there. Nice little egg haul today. Excuse me. It's January. What are you guys doing out already? Look at them, they're popping up out of the leaves everywhere. Dandelions are resilient, that is for sure. I'm gonna get to cleaning some stalls. All the kids are fed and happily eating their grain. And I just need to get stalls done for tonight. We went ahead and brought this in, and this is for the big winter storm that's coming. There's a big sweep of cold weather coming across the United States, and they're calling for, they make, I don't ever want to like I don't ever want to make anybody feel like they shouldn't be weather aware or like it isn't a big deal, but they make a really big deal out of cold weather here in the South. You know, we just don't have the infrastructure for it. We don't have the infrastructure for a lot of snow, sub-zero temperatures, and you know, it's something that coming from Oregon, we're quite used to. And we have, you know, all of the things to work with it. It's a pain in the butt, but we have tank heaters and we have blankets for the horses if they need them, and you know, we know to drain our hoses and unhook them if freezing is coming. So, but one of the things that we do, because a lot of our, I shouldn't say a lot, some of our infrastructure is not perfect. We don't have perfect water infrastructure on the farm for the horses, for the farm animals. We run all of their water off of a well, and we have had some trouble with it in the past, in the wintertime, when we get into the negative wind chill temperatures. So what I do when it's going to be freezing for, you know, more than just a night, and we have like 3 consecutive days where we're going to stay below freezing, and they're calling for, you know, negative wind chills. And last year when they called for that, we got minus 18 wind chill, which is cold. So, and we did have, you know, some times where we didn't have water to the back part of the property. So this year what I've done is I brought this water trough in. I shouldn't say we, Mr. Wonderful drug it in for me. And we will fill it up with water before the cold comes, and it's right next to Chance's big water trough. Now, you might ask, why would we not use Chance's? Well, the reason is because he will play in it and he will turn his stall into an ice skating rink, which comes with a whole bunch of other problems. So we will fill this one up, and it's right next to his plug-in, so they can actually share a heater. And that's, you know, the other thing that I do is I make sure that all of my water troughs are moved to, you'll notice that all of the water troughs are moved underneath the fans. So Gracie's fan, and then Gracie's water trough. Maggie's fan, Maggie's water trough. Velvet's fan, Velvet's water trough. Josie's fan, Josie's water trough. The reason for that is that I have electricity run for these fans in the summertime already. So there is a plug-in right here for the tank heaters if and when we need them. On all of them, they all have access to electricity, so we can plug in tank heaters. The chickens and things like that, that is one thing why I keep the tubs in their pens, in their coops for the winter. In the summertime, the tubs are great too. I try to keep them clean and full of fresh water. They actually like to soak their feet. It's a way that they cool off in the heat of the summer, and we have really hot temperatures here in Arkansas in the summertime. But I go ahead and I leave those out there because they're really easy to just flip over and the ice pops right out of them for the most part. And then I can just bucket water from the hydrant to the coops for those few days that we're going to have, you know, sub-zero temperatures. And again, I know that for some people this is a huge deal, but for us, we're so used to, we've lived in extreme cold temperature climates before, so I do want people to be weather aware, and I do want them to prepare, which is why every year I share this. Some of my Oregon friends laugh and giggle because it's silly that I'm even sharing this. Their waters have been frozen for months. We used to start plugging heaters in for the water troughs in October or November, and they didn't come out of the water troughs until April or May. I mean, the ground freezes 6 feet. So the people there are super used to it, but a lot of the people here are not used to it. They've never seen 6 feet of snow. They've never, you know, dealt with that. So I go through and just tell everybody what I'm doing for my animals in case it might help somebody. And if it doesn't, then, you know, that's okay. I'm gonna get to cleaning stalls and enjoying the wonderful sound of horses eating and being happy, and the beautiful sunset out behind my barn. So I'll come back. Just dawned on me I didn't finish that thought. So the purpose for that water trough is if our water does freeze and we don't have water out here in the barn, it's very easy for me to just take buckets out of there if I keep that thawed out and fill the horse water troughs with buckets of water. Just it's an extra, it's a precaution for me to make sure that, and the other thing is with here in the South, we deal with ice storms, and one of the models shows that we're going to get pretty heavy ice. It just depends on where the cold sweeps up and, you know, where it all lands. But if we get a lot of ice, we can have power outages for extended periods of time. So having that great big water trough full of water will keep me okay for a few days. It's just having extra water in the barn. So may it turn out like it did last year where I have to, you know, take buckets outside and empty it out to get it out of the barn. But if it doesn't, if we do have a power outage or we need it, it's always good to have it. Better be safe than sorry. All right, chores are done. Stalls are clean, and I am initiating snack time. Tonight it is pears. So Champs. Okay, this is what? Yes, Miss Grace, yours is coming. Have I ever forgotten you? I don't think I have. Oh. I like pears because they have handles for the land hippo. Because she's aggressive. Thanks. Ooh, it was close. Belle. I just heard Maggie dropped hers in her water. Part of it. Good? You're welcome. You're welcome. Enjoy. No, only one. I'm sorry. You want, huh? Boop. Okay, chores are done for the day. I have preheated the oven to 500 degrees. My Dutch oven is in the oven heating up for a loaf of sourdough bread. I fed my chocolate sourdough starter this morning, and so now we are going to make a sourdough chocolate loaf, or chocolate sourdough loaf. As you can see, she is nice and happy and bubbly. Here is the recipe. And from here down is the rest of the recipe. Alright, let's get started. To our 100, we have 102 actually, but to our 100-ish grams of active chocolate sourdough starter, we're going to add 335 grams of water. Okay. 250 grams of all-purpose flour, 100 grams of whole wheat flour, and 125 grams of bread flour or all-purpose flour if you do not have bread flour. 10 grams of salt. I'm using pink salt. 50 grams of brown sugar. 50 grams of cocoa powder. Now we're just going to mix these all together to form a shaggy dough. Okay, it should look like this. And now we'll just cover it with a damp towel and let it rest for 30 minutes, and then we'll start our stretches and folds. In the meantime, I'm going to measure out 125 grams of chocolate chips to mix into our bread as we stretch and fold. Ta-da! Okay, now I have a piece of parchment paper out, and I've gotten my sourdough out of the fridge, which has been proofing in the fridge for 12 hours. And now we're just going to flop it onto parchment paper and score it. I'm not going to do anything fancy here. I'm just going to do an X. And then we'll put this in our cast iron. There it is in our cast iron, and we'll just put the lid on and put it in our preheated 500-degree oven for 20 minutes. Okay, now I have a loaf of, this is my porter wheat sourdough bread that has been on its first proof rise, the bulk ferment is what it would be called, since this morning. And we are going to shape it and put it in a Benetton basket to proof in the fridge overnight. I use wheat flour to flour my surface when I'm working with wheat bread, and white flour when I'm working with white bread. It just makes sense to me. And this, as you can see, it's quite jiggly. I am going to season my Benetton basket with some brown rice flour. Just a sprinkle, that's all it needs. And I just toss it around until I have a fairly evenly coated Benetton basket. Benetton baskets are much like cast irons. They are seasoned. And if you take good care of them, they're very, very easy to use, and they're always there when you need them. If you don't take good care of them and you don't season them properly and dry them out properly, like this one's sitting here to dry out while the loaf bakes, then you will end up with mold in your Benetton baskets, and you don't want that. So proper care is simple but important. I did a simple envelope fold on this loaf of bread, which is basically just folding it 4 times over itself and then rolling it up and placing it in here. So you can see it's very, very rough, but it will be fine. It's got 12 hours to sit in the fridge and proof and all meld together. Okay, our next task is to feed our chocolate sourdough starter. So this is what is left in the jar after starting a loaf of bread, and we're just gonna get it fed. Looks like it weighs 74 grams, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it in half to 37 grams. To that, I am going to add 37, now I know it says 89, but that's because of the spoon. I'm gonna add 37 grams of flour, 15 grams of sugar, 15 grams of cocoa powder, and 67 grams of water. So basically the water makes up for all of the dry that I'm adding to it. Okay, so 37 grams of flour, 15 grams of cocoa powder, 15 grams of sugar, and 67 grams of water. Now I'm just going to mix this up. And that is what she should look like. Okay, there she is, ready to go into the fridge and do her thing in refrigerator hibernation until I'm ready to use her again. Alright, our alarm just went off for our bread, so we need to take the lid off here. Push her back in. Decrease the temperature to 475 for 18 minutes. Next task is something a little different. We've never done it on here before. And as usual, I have a bajillion cupboards open in my kitchen. We are going to make homemade laundry detergent. So I'm just going to show you what I do. It's not by any means my original recipe. This is just what I do. I found it on Facebook and have been doing it for a long time. You will need Bell's naphtha bars. I'm using 3 for this batch. 4 cups of baking soda, or you can use Arm & Hammer laundry booster. 4 cups of borax, and then we got some scent beads with our new washing machine, so I'm going to put these in there. And then this container of scent beads, which is 9.1 ounces. That's it. We're going to combine all those together, but first I need to grind these up, so I'm going to put them in the Cuisinart to do so. I just cut them into squares, place them in the Cuisinart, and blend. Until we are pretty much just a powder, just little tiny pebbles. That's how I like mine. Some people like them in like shavings. I like mine like this. I find that they blend better with everything else. Okay, so I have put them in their tub. I just have a Tupperware that sits on top of my washer. Add in 4 cups of baking soda. 4 cups of borax, and an entire container of our scent beads. Now we will, throw our spoon everywhere. And now we will mix it up really good. Break up all the clumps. And there you have it. All done. This is the scoop that goes with it. It is 1/4 cup, and I only use 1/4 cup if it is a monster load. Most of the time, I will only use about half of that, which is 1/8 of a cup. So this lasts me quite a while, and it is a fraction of the price of laundry detergent, you know, bought off the shelf. And it's homemade. Back to its spot it goes. Okay, and after a really good wash of my hands, we're going to stretch and fold this spread. I'm gonna add some chocolate chips to it. Dip our hands in some water. And it's okay that the chocolate chips fall off. Eventually they will work themselves in through the stretch and fold process. This is one of 6 stretch and folds. We add chocolate chips every time. And cover it back up with a wet towel. And let it rest for 15 minutes this time. And our alarm just went off. Oh my goodness, let me get this baby out. How stinking pretty is that? Woo! All right. right, I'm gonna get it out of the pan and onto a wire rack. Boom. So pretty. We did that, you guys. Aren't you proud? I hope you guys enjoyed coming along with me this evening for some evening chores and some more bread stuff. It is just another day in the life. I go to work, I come home, I clean stalls and take care of animals and bake bread. So I will catch you guys on the next one. Yours truly.